So, how have things been to start with the G6? And I think it's been pretty good. A couple of things occur. The camera itself, the G6, seems to be much nearer in size compared to GH1 as opposed to the G80. Side by side, this is what they look like. And this is what it looks like side by side with the G80. One thing I don't like so much about the G6 is the strap mounts, the lugs. Not my favourite kind of design. They're a bit finicky if you want to put something other than a flat strap on the camera. So yeah, it's not a big deal, but you know. The buttons on the back, I complained about the buttons on the GH1, and this G6 is much nearer to the G80, so that's good. It's not as good, not quite as good as the G80, but it's nearer. And this camera, the G6, has this interesting toggle arrangement, which I believe you can use for the power zoom, or if you don't have the power zoom thing, which I don't, I'm not keen on power zooms particularly, you can use it for exposure compensation. Now, I would have liked to have used it probably for aperture, but you can't. You can only use it for either exposure compensation or power zoom. And to be honest, you know, I've got used to it a little bit, and I think it's quite good on exposure compensation now. So that's yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's quite good. What I'm not so pleased with is the thumb wheel on the back, which controls the aperture on this camera. It's really stiff. Maybe it just needs a bit more use or something, but I don't find it's that good having a wheel like that that's really stiff. The wheels, the kind of the thumb wheel on the G80 is much better. So this is clearly, you know, this G6 is clearly an evolution moving towards the G80 and away from those sort of G3, G5 type cameras. It is genuinely something in the middle. Having said that, the menus are very, very similar to the G80, which is a good thing. I think they're pretty good. The way the menus are laid out is not too bad at all. The SD card is inside the battery compartment, which I'm not really a big fan of. It's better on the side, I think. There's no possibility of using a power grip of any sort with this camera, so you are reliant on the batteries, so you need to take extra batteries with you rather than having a grip with an extra battery in it, which is okay. Particularly as I bought this as a travel camera, you know, I would be using it in a kind of a lightweight fashion, so I wouldn't be, you know, I don't take a grip with me when I'm cycling or whatever anyway, so that's fine. Video, it does as 1080p, AVC HD or MPEG-4, and I think from what I've seen so far, it's pretty good. It's pretty reasonable as a 1080p camera. It doesn't do 4K. Not a big deal really, I don't think, most of the time. One thing that is a bit of a nuisance is that when video is rolling, i.e. you've started playing video, the magnifying option doesn't work for focus, so that's a bit of a nuisance. So if you're trying to, you know, focus from one thing to another thing, you know, near distance to far distance or whatever, it's a bit hit and miss really. I don't think it's brilliant. It's, you know, it's probably okay-ish, but it's not great. One thing I did notice was that this camera seems, when you're taking still pictures, it seems quite slow to write to the memory card. I have put a faster card in it now than I was originally using, and that has improved it a bit, but it still seems slowish compared to the G80. For stills photography, the camera seems good. It's nice and, you know, it's everything you'd expect really from a 16 megapixel camera of this era. It's nice and sharp. I find the LCD on the back, when I'm reviewing pictures, it's not that great, the LCD. It's all right, but it's not up to, probably not up to the standard of, you know, the G80. It's not quite as good. And the viewfinder as well is okay, but again, not up to the standard of the G80. Better than the GH1 though. All of the pictures that you're about to see, I'll go through some of the ones I took on a quick field test, and they're all taken using this 14 to 140 Lumix lens, which I'll do a separate thing on, because this is supposed to be my new kind of travel lens, and it's quite heavy, which is, you know, it is what it is. It's not an expensive lens in the scheme of things, and for the range it covers, 14 to 140, yeah, I'll do a separate thing on that. But the pictures you're about to see and the video you're about to see is all shot with this lens, so to some extent you can maybe judge for yourself whether you think it's any good or not. I think it's okay. The reason I've got two mics on here is that I'm testing for the first time. I'm filming this. This is filmed on the G6 with the Panasonic 15mm, but I'm testing the video sound in camera for the first time. So we'll see what that's like. And as a backup, just in case it's awful, I've got my usual external sound recorder on for the for my little Olympus thing. What is it? It's a little Olympus thing. Can't remember. WS852 maybe? Something like that. Yeah, so we'll see how this is done on a studio type thing. But generally, I'm very pleased with the camera. It's everything I expected, and for £129 from MPB for a mint condition camera. It's got 10,000 actuations on the shutter, just over. Came with charger, strap, cables, was boxed, and as I say, mint condition. No lens, obviously. But yeah, really pleased with it for that money, for that price. It's good for me for a travel camera, because I don't like having an expensive camera on my back when I'm cycling off road, as inevitably something's going to get broken. So a relatively cheap camera that can do good 1080p and good stills, and is lightweight, should fit the bill nicely.